Hi. Right off the bat, I am not trying to start any arguments here, please. Every body is different, and fat and thin and healthy are not mutually exclusive terms. This is a video about the mechanics of art, not a biology lecture. Cool? Cool. Here's the TLDW. If you can draw an oval, then voila, you can draw fat. Alright, it's a bit more complicated, but it's not a stretch to view curvy figures as a series of curved lines. Personally, I really enjoy using pen stabilization to get longer, smoother, more controlled line art. This unconscious carryover from cursive curriculums is probably why I have a preference for drawing figures that rely on them, but I still needed to go out of my way to learn how to properly depict people who have more fat. And that might be where the complications lie. If you learn to draw anatomy, it was likely framed through rigid structures, starting with solid shapes and lines segmented 5.5 heads tall, the Loomis method. Often when we picture realistic anatomy, the focus is centered on the bones and muscles since they're what make people's bodies do movement. But the problem arises because that's where too many tutorials both begin and end. A passing mention of fat is given, but you're not going to reach plus-size figures following the Loomis method or how to draw manga books. By not covering fat, it implies that these figures are either not worth learning or require additional effort to integrate into your work. When folks say that they can't draw fat people in their style, that could simply mean they weren't ever taught how in the resources they had available. Just as muscle surrounds your bones, fat is concentrated into set areas on the body, and the amount present in each area is dependent on a myriad of factors. For example, when drawing breasts, it's better to structure them like water balloons hanging off of their chest a little bit below the collarbone. Skin is also elastic, but it's much firmer, so that balloon is held at a relatively solid point. If you adjust the position and scale of the balloon and where it attaches to the muscle and bones, it's easier to understand how fat functions in conjunction with them under the skin. Understanding that framework is really the majority of the knowledge required to accurately depict larger bodies. But this video isn't a tutorial. I'm just here to explain it's not as complicated as it seems, and to point out that there is a stigma against art depicting fat people, which only acts to further the myriad excuses and assumptions around why fat people aren't depicted as much in art. All assumptions that actively demonize people with those body types. To be blunt, I shouldn't be getting comments from people telling me how much they appreciate me drawing fatter characters because that should be normal. It should be normalized. It should just be a thing that happens because it's not complicated. People can just do it. It's easy. Because at the end of the day, our bodies are just perpetually malfunctioning bags of watery meat, and any attempt to maintain a standard of hierarchical excellence at the exclusion of others in a diverse system is both ignorant and potentially harmful. No one is forcing you to draw fat people. Everyone knows what they find appealing. You do you. Just please don't pretend like you
Draw more fat people, you cowards!